Welcome to Healing Mindset, the space where unconventional wisdom meets practical transformation. I am your host, Nazish, and today we are diving into the intriguing realms of paradoxical Heka and Kametaphysics with incredible Reginald Martin. Reginald brings such a unique perspective of energy, consciousness, and mind's potential to heal and transform in ways that truly challenge conventional framework. Reginald, I'm really excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Nazish, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, so to start us off, could you introduce us to the concept of paradoxical Heka and K-metaphysics to our audience, and how do they differ from traditional healing modalities that people might already be familiar with?
Yeah, so I look at it as there's metaphysics and paradoxical Heka like two different stages that we'd be operating in. So the metaphysics itself is really reorienting us from, especially us that if you came from a religious background. For me, I came from Christianity, and the teachings that I teach actually were preceded Christianity. So and Christianity ended up distorting a lot of them. But what it does is it ends up, even outside of Christianity, it we operate in systems where we are taught that we are broken. Something is wrong with us. Okay, whether it be religion, medicine, psychology, something's wrong that needs to be fixed. Okay, so from that perspective, metaphysics reorients us from this idea that something's wrong with us to the idea that we are whole, okay, that we are divine. We are divine emanations of the Creator here in our human experience. And as divine emanations, we're whole. Well, that's our baseline. So rather than try to aspire to be a soul or aspire to reach your soul, or in religion, save your soul, you are the soul, okay? So that's a different shift. That's an ontological shift of being. So instead of us looking at ourselves as being broken, we're whole. Paradoxical Heka is the idea of using voice, sound, and breath to basically orient yourself. It's the process of tapping into your wholeness and to know who you are from that wholeness perspective. Okay, so it is literally the process of how you become more of who you are as a soul having a human experience.
That is such a clear way to put it. I guess it is really going to help our listeners to understand the essence. I am just curious, how did you first discover these approaches? Like, what drew you to them personally? Like, was there a specific incident that happened, or a moment, or some experience that pulled you into exploring them more deeply?
Yeah, and it's been an evolutionary process for me. Basically coming out of Christianity, I was in a lot of mental pain and anguish, so I was dealing with a lot of things that I was trying to solve from a mental perspective. So mental health was the reason why I started to look into these ideas, because the idea of telling me that I'm broken, I'm a born sinner, I'm unworthy, I'm looking outside myself to, basically for validation. All of those things, many people live inside that frame and don't realize that a lot of the psychological issues we have are caused because we live in that. So I was trying to solve that. It was like, I'm in pain. What can I do? This is not working. What can I do? And I started looking for, just other ways to really think about it. I ran up on The Secret, the movie The Secret, and this was around 2006. And that movie, what they talked about opened up a whole new world for me, because it gave me a language to think about myself out of the context of religion and in the context of metaphysics and myself as a soul having a human experience. Thoughts become things, became like a thread that I started to pull, and then it just started to unravel from there. So that started the journey. Was just basically, my question was, how do I get my prayers answered? You know, how do I manifest the life that I want? When I see people who are living a certain way, they're getting the life that they want, but they're not living the way that I was told that gets rewarded. But I was living the way I was told that gets rewarded. At least I thought I was close, and it wasn't happening. So that's really, that just going through that led to many, many questions that I started trying to find.
That's really fascinating. It really opens up the idea of seeing the mind and energy as a form of for transformative healing. Um, so tell me this thing that you have mentioned paradoxical Heka quite a few times. And from my understanding, paradox means opposites or contraindication, something like that. So can you explain how working with paradox plays a role in healing the mind?
Yeah. So in that context, a lot of people do just look at paradox as something that's contradictory. Okay. But in reality, paradox means that it's two things that are true at once. So it is this and that. Okay.
Okay.
Whereas contradiction says it's this or that. All right. So in most of our systems, we live in this contradictory state where when we're talking about ourselves as a soul and using that as the baseline, as an energetic being as the baseline, then you are basically talking about putting yourself in a position to where you're no longer adversarial to yourself. So if we talk about the idea of shadow and light, okay, that everybody has a shadow side, everybody has a light side, okay. But what most of our systems today do is say, with the shadow side, it is something you need to subdue, it is something that you need to bypass, or it is something that you need to fight, okay? But if you think about it in the context of wholeness, the shadow and the light are both parts of you.
Okay.
Okay? So if you are setting up an adversarial position to your shadow self, then you are automatically making your own self your own adversary.
Yeah.
Okay? From an energetic perspective, that means that you're automatically setting up energetic blocks and resistance with your own being. Okay?
Yeah.
So from a paradoxical perspective, what that means is it's a shift. So instead of setting up yourself as an adversary, you accept both your shadow and the light as aspect of you. So say, for instance, if you're going through some fear, the fears is arising from your shadow. Well, instead of fighting or bypassing by saying, affirmations, well, I have no fear, I have no fear, okay? You say to yourself, I honor my fear and recognize the essence of who I am as an energetic being, okay? Yeah. So in that instance, I just used paradox. I just used paradoxical Heka because I had to breathe in order to say the words, but my breath is actually tuning my field when I'm saying. And then the sound is the vibrational aspect that I'm tuning my field with. And when I do that, it automatically trains my system when to the higher aspect of who I am. So I state the shadow, and then I state the aspect that is the non-circumstantial eternal aspect of myself in one breath, and then I create a third state of peace. Okay? So I have the opposites that end up merging to create a third state of peace, vibrationally and energetic.
This is really fascinating. Listening about this, that how the idea that of healing can come from embracing opposites is quite powerful.
It is. It's extraordinary because it really takes us out of the realm of us having even need to judge ourselves as something's wrong, or whatever. We start with self-acceptance. That's the start, And when you and then the other parts of that is just calibrating, your emotional states start to be a guidance system. Whereas where I came from, emotions like anger was something that was a no. You're not supposed to feel anger.
Yeah.
But anger in reality is it actually is a system where we set boundaries for ourselves. If somebody encroaches on our boundary, we might get angry about it. But what ends up happening is that we'll run a loop where we'll say, "Oh, I'm not supposed to get angry, man. I'm terrible for feeling anger." And you end up going in this vertical loop where you can't get out of it. But what Paradoxical Heka does is it says, wait a minute, you're in this loop. You need to go up to who you are, the I am, the essence of who you are, and then you can recalibrate, and then it brings everything together.
Okay, that really makes sense to me now. So, for our listeners, how can someone recognize when paradoxical approach might be right for them, or when to lean into it?
Well, for this, it's not necessarily you deciding if it's right for you or not. I would say use it. Okay. So I would say is don't believe what I say, because what that does is that it ends up putting you in a state where you're trying to mentally make a decision about something that is really more attuned to your whole being, right? And that's where a lot of people get stuck. So I would say use what I'm saying, do it, practice it, for 10 days and see if there's a difference, okay?
Oh.
And then once you practice it for 10 days, and if there's a difference, then it kind of answers the question for you.
It surely does. So let's just bring it all down to everyday life for a moment. How does Kametaphysics actually work for someone who is seeking mental, emotional, or spiritual balance?
Yeah, so the first part of it is that you, again, like when I said at first, is you take yourself out of the ontology of broken. That is really the bottom line for a lot of the issues that we end up having in our societies today, is that we think that we need to be fixed. But from a Kametaphysics perspective, it's not that you need to be fixed, it's that you're out of alignment, because your essence self is always aligned. Who you are as a soul is always aligned and connected to the universal essence of everything, okay, which is balance.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're out of alignment, then that's when you start to feeling illness, or you start to, feeling, angry, or you start to feeling all of those things. So how do you get back in balance? And then taking that from an ontology of brokenness to using wholeness and your energetic state of joy as your baseline.
Okay, I love that. It is so practical and approachable. Just you need to have a strong mindset.
To a certain extent, this goes beyond mindset.
Okay.
Because mind keeps you on the vertical plane. Okay, and I like to try to use that visually, but it's like it's like using a computer. Okay, when we stay in mindset work, it's like if you're believing in the ontology of brokenness, then your whole system is basically running malware from a Kametaphysics perspective. Okay. So if you stay in mindset, then what you try to do is essentially fix your mind with your mind.
Okay.
So that means that you're trying to fix the malware and overlay an app on top of something that's already showing you.
Sorry? No, I was listening to you only.
Yeah. So in that sense, what Paradoxical Heka does is said, wait a minute, you're not just the mind, you're also the soul.
Okay, got
Okay.
it.
And then that takes you out of that loop. So when you say the Paradoxical Heka statement of I even though right now I'm feeling fearful, I honor that I am safe, that the universe is safe. It's a safe place.
Okay.
Okay. That's the paradox. So the fear is in this loop.
Yeah.
When I say the universe is safe, it takes me up here. If you can
Got it.
imagine a cross,
Yeah.
okay, as above, so below, as within, so without.
Yeah. Okay. So, for our listeners who just want to start out, are there any specific exercises or rituals that you'd recommend them to try out?
Yeah, and that's what I was just stating was to do the paradox. Okay. So one of the things that I would do is just say when you are feeling, out off balance, okay, and let's just say you are feeling fearful about something, stop and sit with yourself, sit straight up, take 3 breaths to center yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
And usually 3 breaths is enough. You just okay. Do that 3 times and then just set your intention that this is to help balance me, to help tune my system to peak. You can just set an intention for that. Okay.
Okay.
And then you can say, even though I am feeling fearful
Mm-hmm.
about whatever it might be, okay, even though I'm feeling fearful, I honor that fear, but recognize that in the universe is a friendly place and I am safe.
Got it.
Okay. That's it. You just did the paradox.
Wow, I mean, that's really intriguing. It is so simple and intentional practices that can actually bridge the gap between theory and personal transformation. Such an
Yeah.
amazing work.
And Najish, this is the thing this is how there is actually a somatic marker, a physical marker when you know it's working. Okay.
Yeah.
And that simply is, have you ever had chills or you ever felt like, listen to some good music or something and had chills flow all
Yeah.
over your body?
Yeah.
When that happens, that's when you know the paradox works.
Wow. Really amazing.
That's simple. It's not complicated.
It is not complicated. Actually, it is very simple, and our listeners would actually be very fascinated to know more about this and listen about it. And actually, maybe they might try to practice it as well.
If they do, I'm telling you, they're gonna have a change, because what ends up happening is that when you start to practice it, you'll notice kind of in retrospect, wait a minute, I didn't have those negative thoughts like I usually have, at this time of the day, or, of this many times. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll start to notice a difference in retrospect. I promise you.
That is amazing. So, let's just shift to modern wellness and everything. What I am trying to ask you is that for people who are already practicing conventional therapy and mindfulness, how do metaphysics and paradoxical Heka fit in there? Can they be integrated safely?
Yes, great question. And that's the thing, it doesn't replace it, but it helps to actually give a deeper, a more in-depth practice. Because with mindset work and therapy, you're usually working on that plane, but you never bring in who you are as essence.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're not removing therapy, you're not removing any of these practices, you're simply broadening them to understand that of you as a whole being, not just a physical body, but as a soul essence as well.
Yeah, that is such a thoughtful approach, and the best part is that we are not replacing anything, and it can
No,
integrate it so safely. So, I mean, balance is the key.
Yeah, yeah, and again, at this point, it's just you becoming more of you. You accepting all of you is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is, if you think about the universe and you think about us as source in human clothes, the source didn't say, "Well, I don't like that part over there, so I'm gonna cut that out."
Yeah.
Every aspect of the universe exists. It is this and that on a universal scale.
Exactly. It's this and that. Very well said.
Yeah.
And this is such a useful insight. Integration does usually ensure holistic and a safe approach to transformation, which is the beauty of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And simple.
Yeah. Simple. So now I'm pretty sure some of our listeners must be curious. Please tell us what is the first good step to start exploring paradoxical Heka or Kametaphysics safely and effectively.
Yeah. Well, the first step is, I guess I'm the one who's teaching these ideas. So they would come to Reginald Martin at Substack.com. Okay. Reginald Martin at Substack.com. And I'm always teaching ideas. I write articles. I do videos there. And if they want to go a little bit deeper, then that's the place that they can go a little bit deeper with these ideas and get introduced to.
Okay. So are there any mindset shifts or attitudes that can help people stay open to these ideas while being grounded?
No, well, I think the mindset shift is just being open to something new, something different, because this is something new and different. And if you are, trained to stay within the dogma that you've been taught and that we've been taught as a society, then of course nothing that you do, you even want to look at it, But I will say again, with this, I'm not saying believe me, I'm saying practice it and see what happens.
I'm sure after listening to this podcast and you specifically, our listeners are definitely going to see a change in themselves.
Absolutely. It is life-changing. I use it myself daily. One of the ways I do it, Nazish, is I like to walk a lot. And I walk pretty much probably 5 days a week in the morning.
Oh,
I literally use my walk as a ritual that I practice this.
wow. That's such a great takeaway. So before we wrap this up, I know many of our listeners will want to know more about your work, and our audience would also want to reach out to you, follow your teachings, explore your upcoming project. So could you please share us how they can reach out to you? And
Yeah, just at reginaldmartin.substack.com. So that's my main platform, and they can reach out to me there. And like I said, get introduced to the idea.
perfect. Thank you for sharing that. I'm very sure that many people will want to dive deeper into this conversation. And so, Reginald, thank you so much for sharing your time, wisdom, and heart with us today. Your insight into energy, paradox, and the mind's healing potential have been incredibly eye-opening. To everyone listening, stay curious, embrace the unexpected, and remember, your mind holds far more potential than you realize. Begin exploring today and unlock new dimension of wellness and awareness. This has been Healing Mindset, and I am Nazish, and I'll see you in the next episode.